face having ass. Hey, what's going on, you guys? It's Flash Tuesday. My name is Eric Peoples. In case you guys didn't know, I do videos on Flash, Arrow, Walking Dead, Gotham, and I try to do it within 30 minutes after the show's air to try to give you guys the most rawest review that I can, and so you guys can get all the energy that I can channel out if I'm really excited about the episode. Tonight's episode is Revenge of the Rogues. Is the return of Wentworth Miller as Captain Cole, Dominique Cooper, if I'm not mistaken, as Heatwave, and just those two alone are really iconic Flash villains. Of course, they are collectively they are the Rogues. There are multiple members of the Rogues, Mirror Master, Weather Wizard, who I recently read up on is actually going to be returning. The original Weather Wizard from the first episode is dead, but his brother isn't. So if you guys didn't get a chance to see the first episode, I suggest you go back and check that out. Yeah, so this is Revenge of the Rogues. Captain Cole is formulating this plan to try to bring down the Flash, and so that they can basically rule Central City. And that's the plan. So they're doing things all around the city just trying to get the Flash's attention, but they're not. So they figure out, hey, you know what? Maybe we need to make things more personal. Maybe we need to attack somebody that the Flash cares about. So, and this whole time, Barry's kind of really separated himself from doing the hero thing. At this point, especially after the last episode, the mid-season finale, the man in the yellow suit, he got his ass beat twice in the episode, and he's really taking it personal. So now he's dedicating all of his time to getting faster. That's all that matters to him now, and that's baiting right into what Professor Wells wants. If you guys aren't familiar with Flash lore, the lightning that comes off the Flash as he's running is called Speed Force. They haven't introduced that element yet, but that's what it is. That's what the lightning is. If you guys watched the first episode where you see Barry's mom about to die and there's a lightning bolt ball, that's the Speed Force that's generating off of speedsters' bodies. And of course, Reverse Flash, as he was, given a name today by Cisco, also generates Speed Force as well. But Barry is the conduit for all Speed Force. It begins and it ends with him, basically, in a sense. So, the more Barry can conduct more Speed Force, the more other speedsters can generate. And that's part of why Harrison Wells wants Barry to get stronger with the Speed Force. There's a very cool scene where Cisco is going through a training regimen, and there's like this drone shooting at Barry and shooting rockets at Barry, and Barry's like dodging it and trying to, outmaneuver it and out, just be faster. And Barry gets caught up in a really bad situation, and Harrison Wells actually puts his foot down and makes like he's about to get up, but Barry winds up getting his wits about him, and then he kind of just like grazes to sit back down. Really cool little nod there. At the fact that he is Reverse Flash, or a character of the Reverse Flash. We don't know which one he is yet. So so that's all Barry is thinking about, and Wells is kind of hearsing him into that idea. And so Joe, being a detective, himself, is picking up on that. And he's picking up on things that Wells is saying that Barry is saying. So he's like, Barry said the exact same thing earlier, I'm on to you, And, Harrison Wells just kind of like, oh, okay, I'm going to fade to black for right now. And ultimately, people are being in danger because Barry, what happens when the good people don't do anything, type of mentality. And finally, Barry decides to step his game up. So Cisco is deriving ideas to help the police combat Captain Cold and Heatwave, and they figure out how to cancel out the guns. Where Captain Cold's gun is absolute zero, Heatwave's gun is like absolute heat or absolute whatever. And if you get them to cross paths and basically they cancel each other out. So basically, they kidnap Caitlin, and it's a really creepy scene between Caitlin and Heatwave, which I thought was really really cool because Heatwave is naturally the opposite of Captain Cold, where Wentworth Miller is really calculating. He's very monotoned. He doesn't really get emotional. He doesn't really get excited. But Heatwave is completely different. He's very emotional, and he is unpredictable. And but they feed off of each other. They need each other in a sense. And so ultimately, actually Eddie Thawne, the world now knows the Flash exists because of Captain Cold and Heatwave, and it's Eddie Thawne who actually comes in and helps the Flash, and because the Flash was in a bad spot, and because of Eddie's interference, he was able to rebound and get the upper hand. And ultimately, they're caught. Iris is moving out, and her and Barry's relationship is kind of mended at the end of this episode, and kind of not mended, but but that's still in the development stages and where they're going to go with that exactly. Um, so overall, I gave the episode a 3. Not as strong as Gotham last night. Gotham really came with some noise yesterday. And the Flash has been consistently really good, and this was what I was afraid of, that it was going to be a level of drop off. But not to say that the episode was bad. It wasn't bad in no type of aspect. What I like for them to pay a little bit more attention to detail as far as the villains are concerned, it's imperative that you do. One of the reasons why Batman has such a great rogues gallery, why Spider-Man has such a great rogues gallery, is because they're really, really well designed and humanized villains. They're very personal, unlike villains like Superman, who are just and that's not a knock at Superman villains. Superman villains are awesome. But the best one is Lex because he's a racist. Well, a speciest or whatever, if there is such a thing. But yeah. But I gave the episode a 4, and that's one thing that I wish they would really develop a little bit more. Like a lot like how they use in Professor Wells. And ultimately it's really interesting to see what he says. I hope we're not enemies, and you make me better, and him and Barry kind of have a buddy moment, but in like indirectly because we all know that Harrison Wells is full of shit. But yeah, so the rogues aren't done. I'm leave that little tidbit for you guys to check out. And I'm quite sure there's more Easter eggs. If you guys got a chance to see anything, I didn't get a chance to copy down my notes properly on this thing because I was really excited for the show to come back. It's been my favorite show of the fall. So I was really geeked up for it. But next week is the Pied Piper, and that's gonna be like a two-part episode if I'm not mistaken. And we might even get a hint of vibe in this next episode, and probably a little bit more Firestorm because they introduced Jason in tonight's episode, and we know what Firestorm, the acronym quote unquote for it, what it means. But really excited about the themes of transmutation because that is the premise of his power, unlike what they're gonna do in Arrow with the Atom. But I'm gonna save that for tomorrow. So if you like this video, hit like. If you didn't, hit dislike. But don't be a jerk. Let me know what you didn't like about this video, and I will see you guys tomorrow night for Arrow. Peace.